Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sallallahu sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So it's a recording right now, Abdul Rahman. Let's
Mhm.
start with the translation. At-Tahiru. What are we talking about?
Tahiru is whatever is spiritually pure. Okay. It's anything that's alive. It's it's sweat. It's tears. It's mucus. It's saliva. It's eggs. Uh, except the rotten egg. You know, the ones that are rotten eggs. And whatever comes out of them when they die. Uh,
So any animal
yep.
that dies, anything that comes out of them is najis, is not pure, even if it's the egg.
Mhm.
الأصل في الأشياء الطهارة. And by default, all elements are pure.
Mhm.
That's their original. So everything that exists on the surface of the earth, by default, they should be considered pure طاهر. فجميع أجزاء الأرض, so everything on the surface of the earth, all the elements, وما تولد منها طاهر, and everything that is born from it. As for النجاسة, النجاسة is the, I don't know how we can define that in English.
Spiritual impurity.
It's impure, and you can tell by it that it is impure, that it smells, or you don't want to touch it, or you know it by intuition, like the feces of a human being. That's impure. But those things are incidental, like they're against or contrary to the default. So the default is pure, and everything else is incidental. Like we will learn who they are, what they are. فكل حي, so everyone who is alive, فكل حي ولو كلبا وخنزيرا طاهر وكذا عرقه وما عطف عليه. Explain that, translate that. فكل حي, فكل
where are
حي
we
ولو
looking?
كلبا.
فكل حي ولو كلبا وخنزيرا. So anything that's alive, including dogs and swine.
Yeah, so
طاهر.
because we think that a dog and a swine and what's another word for swine?
Pork. No,
Not pork.
pork is more like when they're meat, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
actually, swine is the best because it covers all of them.
so even the dogs and the swine, because culturally Muslims think of them as impure, but in the Malikiya they are physically tahir, and it's better not to use spiritually, because we're talking about al-hissi. We're not talking about al-ma'nawi. We're talking
Mhm.
about the physical, its physical property, its physical um ruling, its physical ruling, not its spiritual ruling. Because
Mhm.
in the verse Allah says, إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. Those who associate others with Allah, they are najis. That's a spiritual one, you see? So we're not talking about al-ma'nawi. We're talking about al-hissi. Al-hissi.
Mhm.
So even the mushrik is tahir. Everybody's tahir. The human being is tahir. The dog is tahir. The khinzir is tahir. So all of them, وَلَوْ كَلْبًا
Just
وَخِنْزِيرًا.
give me one moment.
Go ahead.
So sorry about that. My bad. Continue.
So everything about the dog.
So okay, let's stop. Just one moment. Can we stop our recording for a moment?
Okay. It just says recording in progress. Go ahead. Bismillah.
We were at فكل حي ولو كلبا وخنزيرا. So we were explaining the difference between spiritual impurity and hissi or physical impurity.
Yeah,
That's
so
where
it's
we left
physical.
off.
It's physical. We're talking about the physical property,
Yeah.
or the physical ruling of these elements. So ولو كلبا وخنزيرا, everything about those who are alive,
Mm-hmm.
people, animals, they're all pure, physically pure. طاهر وكذا عرقه وما عطف عليه, and everything else that we've discussed, العرق والدمع, so anything that came after that is all considered pure if it's coming from.
Mm.
So because we're recording this, I don't want to go through the explanation that goes underneath, but it's very interesting. It's really interesting because I'll do it really quickly. See if I can. It says at-tahiru. So when we speak about at-tahir, what Imam al-Sawi says here is that they overlap with what is known as um, al-mubah, which is we can have, we can eat or consume. So between at-tahir and what we can consume, there is an overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Tahir
Uh,
and what we can consume?
yeah,
Birds.
like bread. Bread is tahir,
Mm-hmm.
and we can consume it. Okay, but poison. There are some plants that are tahir. All the plants are tahir, but because they are poisonous, we cannot consume them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so but that's the so what the overlap is where is where we have things that are consumable like bread and milk. That's tahir, and it can be consumed. On the other scale, at other end of the scale, we have stuff that is not consumable but is طاهر. وينفرد المباح في الميتة للمضطر. But there are exceptions here. It is also mubah to eat dead animals if you have no other source of food. And this could be long, and I don't want to spend time on it. We don't want to take too much time. It's very interesting what Imam Sawi here
Mm-hmm.
uh, brings to our attention. Let's keep going on what Al Imam Ad-Dardir is saying. إلا البيض المدرة. Okay, so everything is tahir except the um, what was the word you used? البيض المدر,
Rotten eggs.
rotten بفتح الميم. Okay, وكسر الذال المعجمة وهو ما تغير بعفونة. He explains it that this is the rotten. أو زرقة, so it became rotten and it changed color because of the blood, whether it's red or blue. فإنه نجس, so it is najis بخلاف الممروق, as opposed, contrary to الممروق. What is that in English? الممروق, the eggs which you open the.
Oh, the one that became a solution within itself.
That's right. So it's mixed. The yellow and the white have mixed, whether before or after you've opened the egg.
And we didn't mention أوصار دما.
Yeah, yeah. أو صار دما وهو ما تغير بعفونة أو زرقة أو صار دما. Okay. So because of the blood, it became all of it was blood. All of it was blood. So whether it's a little bit of blood or all of it was blood, whether it's blue or red, and it's usually because of the blood. But okay. فإنه نجس بخلاف الممروق.
Mm-hmm.
If it's mixed before or after you've broken the egg, that remains طاهر. وهو ما اختلط بياضه بصفاره من غير نتونة وإلا ما خرج من الحيوان من بيض أو مخاط أو دمع أو لعاب بعد موته فلا بلا ذكاة شرعية فإنه يكون نجسا. So he clarifies here very clearly that if an animal happens to die and any of those things which we mentioned earlier, the sweat, the mucus, the phlegm, the whatever, if the animal has passed away, it died. It died. Whatever comes out from that animal is najis. فإنه يكون نجسا فهذا في الحيوان الذي ميتته نجسة.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. وبلغم وصفراء وميت الآدمي وبلغم. What's the بلغم وصفراء?
بلغم, it's phlegm.
That's the phlegm. وصفراء is the yellow acidic water that comes from the throat. Okay, so that's one step before throwing up. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
feel a heartburn or something, then you have something in. So all of that, البلغم, the phlegm, that acidic liquid or material, وميت الآدمي, the dead human being, someone passes away, وَمَا لَا دَمَ لَهُ, and anything, any animal or any insect that does not have a blood, وَالْبَحْرِ, of course any animal from the sea, the fish, كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم في البحر هو الطهور ماؤه الحل ميتته halal, so it's halal, whatever passes away in the sea, even if you haven't fished, you didn't fish it out of the, from the net or the, it is طاهر and it is halal to eat. وما ذكي من غير محرم الأكل, any animal which is not haram, like the swine or the dog, these animals, if they have been sacrificed properly, they are طاهر. والشعر وزغب الريش, والشعر, and any hair, any hair, and any form of zagab is another form of hair, uh, and الريش, the feathers. So
Mm-hmm.
البلغم وهو ما يخرج من الصدر منعقدا بالمخاط, with the phlegm. They were just explaining these different elements. وكذا ما يسقط من الدماغ. We usually mention this in Khalil and all the other books that have offshooted from the mashhur. They always mention this, and that is anything that falls from the brain. Like sometimes a person has like an excessive, something very hard happens to him, and it comes, the thing that comes from his nose, or yeah, from his nose, is something from the brain. Wallahu alam. من أدمي أو غيره. All of this is طاهر. Also, وكذا الصفراء وهي ماء أصفر ملتحم. We've mentioned this, and this is what is explained here. It looks like a saffron. It's sort of yellow. لأن المعدة عندنا طاهرة. Why is this thing from the throat that comes from the stomach, that salty, acidic element, fluid that comes from the stomach? Why is that tahir? Because we believe that the stomach is tahir originally. عندنا طاهرة المعدة عندنا طاهرة فما خرج منها طاهر. So anything that comes out from it. ما لم يستحل, as long as it did not transform and became decayed. It had transformed in the stomach and started to change. كالقيء, like puke. But not any puke. The puke that remained there for a long time, like the food which was mixed and it became puke and it smells, that is decayed. That is like transformed. That is not tahir.
Mm-hmm.
So fresh puke, like you just ate and like 15 minutes later you threw up, that is not najis. It is tahir.
Mm-hmm.
This yellow element is tahir, because we say that the stomach is tahir. ومن الطاهر also ميتة الآدمي ولو كافرا على الصحيح. And even like any human being, whether they're Muslim, they're Christian, Jewish, any faith, even if they're atheist, it doesn't matter. The human being is tahir. They are pure. They're physically pure. وميتة ما لا دم له من جميع, and anything that dies but it has no blood. And I think I don't know if we've spoken about this. An example of that is it's right here. So خشاش الأرض, خشاش الأرض. So any animal that has no blood, and here it has an example here, which is the scorpion, كعقرب وجندب وخنفس, all those little insects that live on top of the earth, not fish, but they have no blood. All of those are tahir. Also, all the grass, all the forms of vegetation, خشاش الأرض. ومنه البرغوث. البرغوث is just another insect. بخلاف القمل. There is an exception. القمل, what is القمل?
Sorry?
What is القمل?
Lice.
Lice, because it sucks the blood from the humans, so it becomes filled with blood. And then we'll speak about how do we deal with that. Some people have a problem with it, have a problem of having lice in their head or in their house or on the floor. So how do we pray in that environment? If it's just a handful or maybe 10 or 15 or 20 even, and you cannot get rid of them all the time, then it's permissible to pray in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
But it is najis. It is not tahir. One should get rid of all forms of those that environment before praying and remove them, of course. وكذا ميتة البحري. Any obviously when we fish, we remove the fish from the sea. But what
Mm-hmm.
if the fish has passed away? It has died by its own in the sea, and the sea threw it out, and it came out on the beach. That also is tahir. We're not speaking about whether we can eat it or not. The hadith says yes, we can eat it. وَالطَّهُورُ الْمَاءُ الْحِلُّ مَيْتَتُهُ. Even what has been thrown out of the sea and it's passed away naturally, it is halal to eat. But we're talking here about its tahara. So the fish that has passed away and has been thrown out from the sea to the beach, that is tahir. Unless, of course, it stays there for a long time and it starts to decay. وغيره ولو طالت حياته في البر. وغيره وغيره ميتة البحر وغيره. So any من السمك وغيره. So any animal that lives in the sea or in a body of water, even if they're in and out. ولو طالت
True.
حياته في البر. Like the penguin. The penguin lives outside, right?
Yeah, but penguins, I think it's more like it's a bird. I think what they're talking about, maybe, I don't know, turtles.
Doesn't the penguin go into the sea?
Yeah, it does, but it can't breathe. It can't live. It's not I wouldn't say it's a bahri because it wouldn't live in the sea.
Here it says ولو طالت حياته في البر. It doesn't matter if it lives much longer outside, but it is
Hmm.
considered an animal of the sea. The crocodile can live outside, right? It's not a
No,
fish.
they water. They stay underneath the water, but
Yeah,
they
but
come outside to eat and drink and
yeah,
breathe.
but they can last a long time there, right?
Yep.
They can last outside of the water less than the penguin, but they can go out, not like the fish.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just saying that it is tahir. We're not talking about eating it. We're talking about its tahara. So anything from the sea, even if it dies and it stays outside, it
Yep.
is still tahir. All of
Hmm.
those are tahir.
Hmm.
What other animal from, like you said, the turtle and the frog, they live inside and outside. So even if they live a long time or longer outside than inside of the sea or the water, those are طاهر.
Hmm.
فإن الذكاة لا تعمل فيه. There's no ذكاء. Why are we considering them? Why is it considered طاهر? Because usually if we were ever to eat them, they cannot be sacrificed like a sheep or a cow. الذكاء. They cannot be sacrificed like a camel. When we eat a camel, we sacrifice it in a certain way. You cannot eat a camel or a sheep if it just passes away by itself. So in these situations, like the penguin, the turtle, the frog, if you were going to eat the frog, for instance, if it's permissible, for instance, you cannot sacrifice them, and they passed away outside of the sea, you can eat it. Understand? There's no
Hmm.
such thing. There's no such thing as sacrificing them. Anyways, what we want
What
to do,
about the khayl?
we're gonna
Can't horses be sacrificed?
yeah, we're gonna get there, and we're gonna find out that al mashhur, they are najis. Sorry, not najis. They are not eatable. We cannot eat it. We cannot sacrifice them. The mashhur, but many scholars like Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi and others have said that we can eat the horse. Okay. Well, we'll see the details. It's interesting. Those details are interesting. فإن
Mhm.
الذكاة لا تعمل فيه. All right, let's move on. Because we are recording, it's already 50 minutes. We're gonna stop soon because we don't want to make it too long.
Mhm.
Let's try to make it another 5 minutes or so. وكذا
The
الكلب
first paragraph.
ها sure. وكذا الكلب والخنزير لا تعمل فيهما الذكاة. Obviously, the dog and the khinzir, we cannot sacrifice them. Those cannot be sacrificed. فميتة ما ذكر ناجزة ولو ذكية. Let's go back and see whether we have read it properly. So it says وكذا ميتة البحري. This is طاهر من السمك وغيره ولو طالت حياته بالبر. That's all طاهر. وجميع ما ذكي بذبح. Everything that we sacrifice أو نحر أو عقل من غير محرم الأكل بخلاف محرمه كالحمير والبغال. Oh, we skipped this. I skipped this.
Which one?
ولو طالت حياته. I stopped there. وجميع. Okay, and that's the next phrase is وجميع ما ذكي بذبح. So we spoke about those that live in the sea and those that lived outside of the sea because they're back and forth. We spoke about that. وجميع ما ذكي بذبح أو نحر أو عقر من غير محرم الأكل. So the Islamic sacrifice is there are three types, and we will cover them inshallah when the time comes. One of them is nahr, one of them is aqr, and one of them is dhabh. الذبح والنحر والعقر. So any animal which is sacrificed according to the Islamic law is طاهر من غير محرم الأكل. And okay, عقر من غير محرم الأكل بخلاف محرمه. But anything else is not طاهر كالحمير والبغال والخيل. فإن الذكاة. See here المشهور tells us that the mule and the donkey and the horse are not permissible to eat. So when we sacrifice them, it does not affect its permissibility to eat. Okay. So I had skipped that. I did not say that before. So like I said, the mashhur for the horse is we cannot. And what else is not permissible to eat? We'll finish this paragraph, inshallah. وكذا الكلب. الكلب we cannot eat because we cannot sacrifice and eat it. This is the mashhur. والخنزير. That's like undiscussed. There's no differences of opinion about the swine. The swine cannot be eaten even if you sacrifice it. لا تعملوا فيهما الذكاء. فميتة ما ذكر نجسة ولو ذكي. So all of these animals that we cannot eat, even like we've mentioned them, the horse, the donkey, the mule, the dog, and the swine are they are all when they die. As soon as they die, they are najis because we cannot sacrifice them. Is that clear? ومن الطاهر
Well, it says فميتة ما ذكر نجاسة ولو ذكي.
ولو ذكي. A dog passes away, okay, you cannot eat it. But what before he passes away, you sacrifice it like you sacrifice a sheep. Does he become tahir? No, it is still najis because we don't sacrifice an animal, a
Right,
dog. Okay.
right.
ومن الطاهر الشعر ولو من خزير. So the swine has some form of a hair. It's I don't really remember it. وكذا زغب الريش. And the 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 filaments or the string or the hairs of the feather, that is طاهر. وهو ما اكتنف القصبة من الجانبين. You have a feather. Those hairs that come from both sides is a rish. وأراد زغب الريش وأراد بالشعر ما يعم الوبر والصوف. And when we say ومن الطاهر الشعر, so the things that is tahir is the hair. Anything that qualifies as a hair, anything which is a hair, whether it's from the camel, which is I think al-wabar, or even the elephant has some little form of hair, even the swine, any variance or
Mammal.
yeah, anything, any of those that has a form of a hair is tahir, whether you remove it while he's alive or he's dead. Okay, so let me stop here, inshallah, and we can continue if I know how to do it. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. جزاكم الله خير. I'll stop sharing. I'll come back.
I think you're still recording.
Yeah, yeah.